Hello and welcome to the Small Business Happy Dance. My name is Rachel, and today I'm interviewing Clair Wellsbury-Nye, who is a business and marketing consultant helping small business owners figure out what they are doing, where they are going, and how to get there. Hello, Clair.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks very much for having me.
So, Clair, do you want to tell me about your business?
My business has kind of two strands to it. I work one-to-one with clients on anything from them working out what their business might be when they first come up with an idea, and then they need to decide how they're going to go about taking their ideas into a real thing that you can put in front of clients, or when they've got something that's already up and running and they need to get it to more clients, or maybe they're a little bit kind of stuck with it. It's not really working out how they hoped, and we look to see how we can reframe what's going on. So that's the consultancy side that I do one-to-one. And then I also run the North Star Business Club, which is an online space for small business owners to come together. They support each other in making progress with their businesses. I'm there with advice, guidance, answering questions. We've got a whole library full of lessons on marketing and business development that they can use as they need to. But mostly it's just a space to feel like you're not on your own doing this stuff, because it can feel pretty lonely when you're sat in the back bedroom coming up with all the answers yourself. And that's what the North Star Business Club does as well. So two sides to it, but basically just helping people figure out what their business is and how to get loads of lovely clients.
And I think that's really, the community aspect is so needed at the moment, particularly for anyone who either set up during COVID or had a business during COVID, because I set up during COVID, I set up during the first lockdown, and it was incredibly lonely. Not only that, because I live alone, it was, that isolation, then the isolation from any sort of business community. It was difficult. So I can imagine that people are like desperate for this at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of networking, and I know a lot of people see networking as a place that you go to potentially get new clients. For me, that's like the last reason to go to networking. I go to just meet other people. I go and talk to, well, I was going to say some other grown-ups. I go and talk to some grown-ups, and then I'm there as well. But actually seeing other people and just getting out of the house, so I'm not just trying to have a conversation with the poor DPD driver. That's a really good benefit of it. So yeah, the community is fab. I love it. I don't think they realize how much I benefit from the community as much as I know they benefit from each other.
And that leads us quite nicely onto the fact that you're a network leader for Wire, aren't you?
I am, yes. I'm a bit of a serial networker. Can't quite help myself. I first started talking to Emma at Wire. So people who don't know, it's Women in Rural Enterprise. It's a national organisation. And we have people who run networks in their own local regions. Some cover an entire county, some just cover a town. It's entirely up to the individual what they want to do. So I started talking to Emma at Wire in, I think it was December 2019, with the idea that we would start sometime in the spring of 2020 with networking events. I ran an event called Nervous of Networking, a workshop for women who didn't really know what to say about these things and thought that you would walk into a room and just get a bone-crushing handshake from some man in a suit. So we did that workshop, which was brilliant. And I had some lovely feedback. And I was like, right, it's going to be great. I'm going to set up these new events. I'll let you know about it all. I'm really excited to welcome you all to a really, a safe space. And then bloody lockdown happened.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was great.
And I have actually interviewed Emma, so I'll leave an iCard above that you can go and find her episode. And I talked to her about her business and also the importance of networking, because she's got the business called The Barns at Lee's Farm, which I kept getting wrong. When we were filming, I kept calling it the Lee's Farm at Barn. I don't know. It was a whole thing, but it was wild. But yes, and also Emma totally talked me into joining. It was Emma's phone call. I blame her. I'm joking.
It's very good.
Oh gosh, she's really, really good. So yeah, it is. And the meetings are for me, the difference with wire meetings versus other business networking that I've been to is it's so supportive. I think there's a really supportive atmosphere, and you don't feel like you're just being hit up on LinkedIn and sold to. You feel like you're actually having a dialogue with somebody who really, really gets it, and they might not be able to answer your specific question, but they might know somebody who could. So there's this like feeling of you all being in it together.
Yeah, that's something that I've found with pretty much every networking event that I've been to that's women only. Sorry, chaps, but the women only ones definitely feel more supportive, more collaborative. And I don't know if it's maybe because if you go back, maybe 10 years, networking was a very male environment. And obviously before that, almost exclusively so. And maybe as women have moved into the networking space, men haven't sort of changed how they do it. So there's almost this sort of two sides to how an event works, and some events stick on the slightly more sort of salesy, pushy side of things. I mean, there's events where you have to bring along referrals for members, and you can only have one person from each sort of category of business at the event. And I find that very, very strange. In woo-woo terms, it's coming from a place of scarcity, not wanting to be confronted by any potential competition and just being desperate for any lead you can possibly get. And I find that quite sad. Whereas, networking with women, it's more kind of like, hi, what do you do? Not because I want to know can I sell to you? Because I want to get to know you. I want to know who you are. I'm interested in people. And actually, I might know someone that you could benefit from getting to know. So I like to think of networking about the people behind the people that you meet. And I try to do that for people that I meet at networking as well. Who could I introduce them to? It's not about me, it's about us coming together as a whole community. And Wire is brilliant for that. We're doing online networking now, thanks COVID, but looking forward to doing some in person very soon. And there's some other networking events that I run locally, which are in person. And again, it's all about just getting people together, making sure people have a good time so that they come back, and being helpful and supportive and friendly, and just not being salesy at all. That's the last thing we're interested in about it.
As a business owner, do you know when to walk away from a sale?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. She says with so much confidence, it's a learned thing. It's not something that I think most people would do immediately. It can feel uncomfortable. But like I was saying about people at networking, those setups where it's like no competition, must have the referrals, it's coming from a place of scarcity. People who are trying to chase every potential client out there, I think they're doing themselves a disservice. Some people aren't the right match for you. It might not be in an area that's your best expertise. It might be a client that's trying to get more out of you than you're prepared to give. Some people, especially if you're in the early days of your business and somebody's like, oh, well, I'll give you 50 quid for the thing that really should be 150. But you're like, oh, well, I just need clients. So yeah, that's fine. That sort of idea. You need to have the confidence in yourself to say, no, I know who's the right match for me and who isn't. And it's a little bit scary to say, no, I'm sorry, I don't think I'm the right person for you to work with. But you should absolutely do that. It's another brilliant thing about networking, of course. You meet loads of other people and somebody says, can we work together on this thing? And you go, no, but you could work with this person maybe, because they're a much better match for what you need. It's something that takes time. It takes confidence. And it's something where you need to know who your ideal client is, which is something that I bang on about a lot. So that's your starting point for being able to put in those boundaries.
Yeah, I think lots of people often learn the hard way. You help small business owners who are stuck in a marketing muddle. And I'd love to know what you think the biggest mistakes are that people make that get them in their muddle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. Mistakes people make. I think I don't like to say that people make mistakes. I don't think that's fair on people who are, you're setting up your business as a massage therapist because that's what you've trained in. That's what you know how to do. And then something in the back of your brain says, well, you're setting up a business, so therefore, clearly, you know all the things that you need to know to set up a business, even though all you've done is train in the massage thing and not the accounts and the legal and all the marketing. But people put this pressure on themselves that they know the answers. So that's probably the mistake they make, is thinking that they should be able to do these things themselves. I am on a mission to ban the word should. I think it's terrible. So mistakes people make are spending forever trying to learn from videos where YouTube will serve you up 3 videos in a row on the same subject that will all give conflicting advice. And then all you do is go, well, now I just don't know at all, and pull the covers back over your head and go back to bed, because it's really confusing. And it's, that makes things really difficult for people. So my solution to that, the mistake is trying to do everything that everybody suggests on the whole of the internet all at once. I can't say that you ever get over that, because I am currently trying to do all of the things at once. Because you can't help yourself, particularly as a marketer. I'm very proactive about the stuff I do. I get very excited about new opportunities and new ways of marketing the things that I do. And then I want to do them all. So I'm writing a new handbook, and I'm setting up a series of videos, and I'm working on a quiz all at the same time, which is utterly ridiculous. And I really need to take my own flipping advice and just pick one. So mistakes, Don't try and do it all at once. Pick one thing, do a little bit of it, work it out, learn from it, move forward to the next.
I know that marketing, they always say that social media, if you're going to use that, to be consistent. Have you got any tips on how people can be consistent on social media? Because, you know, a lot of people get a lot of energy in the beginning and then sort of fizzles out. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah. So don't go at it like a bull at a gate. Don't set yourself up unrealistic expectations. Consistency isn't just about the schedule of what you're doing. I know there are people who will set out to do a Facebook Live every day for a year and crazy things like that. There is a chap who I met last weekend who has set himself the task of doing a Facebook Live every day for 1,000 days, and he's on about day 568, which is a bit crazy. You don't need to do that much, but you do need to do an amount of it. So I'd say if you're using things like Facebook and Instagram, the sort of easy, obvious ones, what you want to do is not do it so often, just make the most out of everything that you do. So post 3 times a week, nicely sort of spread out, but share it in places and use the right hashtags and tag people in it who might comment and share it on further, so that it keeps working for you beyond that first time that you put the post out there. Because a lot of people don't quite understand how particularly Facebook works in terms of what you post getting out to be seen by a bunch of people. You can have, let's say round numbers, you've got 100 people who follow your Facebook page and you put a post on your Facebook page. It will go out to about 2% of the people who follow your page. So like 2 people. If one or both of those people see it and comment on it in some way, like it, react to it, I mean, if they share it, even better. But if something happens to that post the first time it goes out, then Facebook thinks, well, that post's got some sort of use to it because somebody else liked something about it. It's got a bit of value. So let's send it out to a couple more people and see what they think of it. So it goes out to a few more people who follow your page and they comment on it, like it, little heart on it. And again, Facebook's like, yeah, no, this has got something to it. And it goes out to a few more and it keeps going like that. Now that can take a bit of time. It can be hours, it can be days. So you put something out on a Monday, some people, Friday might be the first time they see it. And when I say see it, I mean, it turns up in their news feed. They can go to your page and see it whenever they like. But bit of tough love. Nobody is going straight to your Facebook page to go and see what you're talking about unless they've heard about you from somewhere else and they want to look you up. It's the first time that they've seen you. Once somebody's following you, they don't go and check your stuff out. They just expect it to turn up in front of them in the newsfeed because we're all lazy and we just want everything to rock up in front of us without us doing any work. And that's how Facebook makes it work. So don't think that you have to put something out every day in order for you to have a presence every day. The more that people interact with your stuff, the more it will continue to get seen by people as time goes on. So in terms of consistency, don't need to do every day, but you do need to do 2 or 3 times a week. And that will just get you started. and schedule them. You don't need to do them live.
I mean, it's really interesting what you said about Facebook and Instagram, because I think I never think of them particularly as having evergreen content, and evergreen is that all year round and forever and a day, that content will be useful and helpful. But actually what you're saying is create content that is potentially useful at any time, and then people can share that beyond, because YouTube definitely has an evergreen thing. And for instance, content that I put out at the beginning of this podcast is getting viewed today, so it's there, it's in the bank, and it's being watched today, and I'm not actually having to do anything more about that. It's just going out into the world. Like you said, it's being seeded, and depending on the reaction on what the offer is, depends on whether it gets shared any further. I really love that. But I will be honest, I because I don't know whether it's because I know the thing works, but I definitely have people I don't follow, but I'll go to their page every day to go and double check. I don't know what that is about me. I think it's because I don't trust the feed. So there's certain people
that's interesting.
I really like, but I'll just go there. I will hunt out their feed specifically. And I'm a lover of a story. Oh, if stories are the first thing I check on the old gram. Probably shouldn't say this. But
yeah. I mean, it used to be when stories first came out, you would go through the stories just to get the down circles off the top of the screen. Just like, if I just watch the stories, then all the stupid circles will disappear, and then I can just watch things as normal. And now I'm like, the stories just never end. Oh my goodness, I'm just going to be here forever. I've got stuff to get on with, guys. I'm busy this morning. You think, oh, I'll just quickly have a look. And then the stories just keep on flipping going. And I'm just like, Freddie McConnell, dude, I love you. But oh my goodness, how much story can one person consume in a morning? He's got a lot of exciting stuff happening at the moment, so I don't blame him for putting tons of stuff out there. But I'm just like, oh my goodness, when you see the story, you got the little white lines across the top, and the smaller the lines get, the more of stories there are, and you just look at it and you're like, mate, there's about 20 lines here, what are we doing? Okay, and you just fire it up and they just keep coming. It's probably a personal discipline thing. Just need to put the phone down every now and then. I don't need to watch every story by every person I follow every single day. I just need to not.
Thank you so much, Claire, for being on the podcast and taking time with me today. I really appreciate your time and expertise. It's just been so inspiring.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope that it's helpful to people.
Well, it's been helpful to me, if nobody else. Anyway, thank you so much. As I said before, all the links for Claire's social media and her website will be below, so you can keep an eye on those and check out when the North Star Business Club is reopening its doors. Thank you so much for listening to the Small Business Happy Dance. We'll see you next week.